So my involvement with Kuumba began when my son got an opportunity to play the cello at school, and he came home with a cello, and I had not had any experience of anything like that before. So as he was progressing, he basically wanted more than the school could give him, and so I basically went along to the local music service. I met some other parents, and I just remember one day sitting next to a parent and saying, my son really wants to take this a bit further. I'm not quite sure how to help him do that. And then she introduced me to one of the music teachers who had a collection of children like my son, who was, a black child who was playing a string instrument. And we saw somewhere a glimmer of potential. We saw that this is different. They were engaged. They somehow it was impacting on their confidence, the fact that they could be successful at playing something, and we also could see that it would support their general education. So that was our primary motive, really. How do we enable them to engage in an activity that's really positive, that helps their self-esteem and their confidence and supports their education generally?
The first sounds were very painful, very um, almost like, oh God, why am I doing this?
Squeaky, horrible. Yeah, it wasn't a nice sound.
Initially, when she first started, I thought, is it just a phase that she's going through and how long is it going to last? But then she quite enjoyed it. And her music teacher spoke about scholarships when we was looking at secondary schools. And that's how we kind of progressed, really. Yasmin's teacher initially was really nice, very strict, extremely passionate. It was very frustrating sometimes because she would, especially where you'd be practicing during the week and then you'd have a lesson, or you wouldn't practice during the week and you'd have a lesson and the teacher would know you hadn't practiced during the week, and the teacher's talking to your child and your child's either rolling her eyes or looking up at the sky and you're thinking, don't be doing that.
Yeah, there's arguments. we fight about if I want to play and if I don't want to play, because there's times I'm like, I don't want to play. She's like, you have to play. The things I have to do that I really don't want to do. But in the end, I guess they benefit me.
I think girls of her age are interested in their mobile phones, Instagram, all the social media websites that are out there, socialising too. So I think those sort of things are a massive distraction.
Mummy always wins the arguments. I've not won one. So I guess Mummy's always right.
There isn't always the space in regards to practicing. I think you've got distractions of younger siblings who are in and out. So it is hard. And we live in a small house, in an ideal world, it'd be lovely if we lived in a big house and she had her own little room that she could go off and do and be comfortable in. But we don't. So we work with what we've got. It's just really nice to see everybody else's reaction, to see that they enjoy what she's played and how she's played. That's a really nice sense of achievement to see all of that. And I guess, and to see her from where she started to where she is now, that's really nice.
Well, my auntie Pam, she played the violin professionally and she played the cello, so it kind of started from there, really.
Rihanna started playing the cello when she was maybe 6 or 7. So she used to have weekly lessons, and we stayed with that particular teacher maybe for 18 months. And then we moved to another teacher. I found the first one didn't suit Rihanna's personality, and it was important to match the personality of the teacher with the personality of the child, because it enhances their playing, because they want to do well for the teacher and do well for themselves. And then they know that there's connection and there's the motivation, and they build up a relationship and a rapport with each other. In the beginning, it was very difficult to kind of structure the practice in our everyday lives, to be honest. And always initially, it's always squeak, 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 squeak. And you don't want to be hearing that every evening.
I didn't really want to do it, and at the time I was doing other stuff. I was in like shows, so I played, but not properly. Like I didn't ever practice, or it wasn't like serious at the time.
The squeak, squeak, squeak seemed to go on forever, to be honest. And then it's like one day they take the instrument out and you don't hear that squeak, squeak, squeak anymore. And you think, when did that happen? But once they're over that, then you begin to feel that they're becoming a musician. The first time my children started performing publicly, I think I was in tears. I felt so proud. I felt, oh, this is all worthwhile. This is what it's all about. At the moment, Rihanna accesses, she has a music scholarship. So there's lots of musical opportunities at her school.
I used to look at my school concerts and that I'm in now, and like before I got into school, and I used to think that's like amazing, all my days, I'll never be like that. And then when it was my first year, my first concert, I was that person that I aspired to be. So that felt good.
Hurdles, it's just keeping their motivation, yeah? And that's the most difficult hurdle.
I look back now and I'm like, I'm glad they did it because I'm happy. I love my school and stuff like that. But at the time, I didn't like it at all. I didn't understand why they were making me do it, and my friends weren't. My friends were just out doing what they want. And yeah, and there was a lot of pressure because if I didn't get it, then I couldn't go to the school, and it was like, I didn't like it. Yeah, we didn't get on.
The experience of the children accessing the classical world, I mean, through Kuumba, it's been a lot easier, to be honest, because what happens when they turn up together. I think Kuumba has allowed our children to access that classical environment.
Yeah, Kumba's been good. I've enjoyed it. Yeah, I made lots of friends through Kuumba and otherwise people I wouldn't have otherwise met.
She was playing the saxophone, but she gave up. That was very much about the teacher. She's doing the piano, but she wishes to do the harp. Yeah? Why didn't you let me play the harp? She said, I'd love to play the harp. And I just look at her and I just think, for me, I think, yes, it's worked. For her to say, why not the harp? She's coming to me and requesting, can I do this? Can I do that now? Which is good.
I started playing at 5. I heard my uncle's sister play the violin and decided I wanted to play. What I first heard in the violin was the sweet high sound it made when it was played properly. And my mum asked me, sort of prompted me a little bit, said, would you like to play the violin? Well, from what I remember. And I said, yeah, I agreed to it. When I first picked up the violin, it probably sounded like a screaming cat being strangled. There was a lot of friction with practice. I used to cry. I didn't want to practice. I was bored. I couldn't do it. When you get to the point when you feel like you can't play something, you actually just get fed up and want to quit. But I had no choice in the matter, really. And I'm thankful for that. I'm going to be honest. I wanted to quit for some time, probably between the ages of around 12 to 16. The determination not to give it up mainly came from my mum. She said, you can quit once you get to grade 8. You can quit once you get to grade 8. So I wanted to rush my way to grade 8 to quit, not realising the better I was getting, the more I was enjoying it. And then I realised once I'd done my grade 8, there's no such thing as quitting. She knew that it took a lot of time and money, so after the performances, she'd just be so proud. And my dad as well, he would always be at the performances. There's definitely a connection between music and academics and everything, really. The discipline you use to practice your instruments is the same discipline you're going to use to do your homework or to revise for exams. So it really does help you grow as a person anyway. I would say pick it up and give it a try. It's not going to go anywhere at first. It will take time and it will take effort, but trust me, it will definitely be worth it.
Teo followed Jamal in playing the violin. He watched Jamal play the violin at his first public performance at 4 years old, and Teo asked for a whole 12 months to play the violin, and we held off until we knew he really wanted to play. He started playing at 6.
I can remember, I look back and laugh at my first performance now because, I mean, looking back, it was quite an easy piece. But at the same time, when I was that young, there was so much commotion about this one little performance.
He began to make musical sounds very early on, and he's a grade 8 violinist today, playing in various orchestras, ensembles, and plays solos, and has won Classical Musician of the Year at school within the past year. So I'm very encouraged by his progression.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything like it really. I mean, there's one thing being able to listen to music and being able to appreciate it, but being able to make music yourself, I think that's something quite special.
It never ever ceases to amaze me. I love watching him, and I feel like a really proud parent that he's achieved so much. My father played the trombone, which was quite black in those days because he was part of a jazz group. But having my children play the violin, it was about playing in an orchestra, and the scholarships when they applied for them was about playing in an orchestra. And Teo has played in LSSO and been one of 3 black children. I don't know, it's still very, very white middle class. I went to see a performance last night of a solo violinist, Bulgarian, and she was playing a Stradivarius, and it was amazing. However, I couldn't have taken Teo to that because he's still not ready to go and just see white violin soloists. He wants to go to performances where he's seeing black players playing strings.
I think in some respects it has a white privileged middle class kind of side to it, but at the same time, I think by introducing it to another class of people, they can put their own twist on it, and I think that's important in the development of music. So I think, if anything, it should be encouraged, because then you can get new ideas.
Having Kuumba there, supporting Teo as a musician, has given him the opportunity to travel, to become part of the LSSO, to become a confident public solo performer, orchestral performer, an ensemble performer.
They kind of broaden your horizons, because I remember there was a composer, and he came to work with us with this piece, and that kind of showed me what he wanted out of the piece and how we could put our own little twist on it.
When they go to the schools like the children to play in orchestras. You can play a second instrument like a piano, a guitar, but go for an orchestral instrument. Why do I say that? Because it makes a difference to that child being involved in the various musical activities of the school. The second reason I would say play a musical instrument is academically it enhances their academic ability. And I've seen the evidence of that. I encourage them to be determined, but there are financial implications to the whole thing. But I'm learning at this stage there are organisations out there to support parents financially with their children's musical journey.
Clarice started when she was in year 3. Vincent started in year 3 as well.
Well, when I first did it, I was kind of scared because I didn't think I was going to be able to get on with it because most of the people in my class thought it was too boring. I wanted to play because I wanted to have a good future.
I had to do a bit of arm twisting to get them round to actually doing, no, I would say more with Vincent than with Clarice. So he eventually has settled down and is willing to do it.
It makes you feel like there's like a work in progress and like there's something that we have all accomplished together.
First and foremost, they have to want to play the instrument. Secondly, they've got to understand that you don't just get up and pick up an instrument on the day and everything is fine. Practice makes perfect. And although at times they may not really want to do it, you still got to encourage them. The progression has been very steady, and I can say that it has helped them with their concentration levels, and the idea of knowing that you have to be part of a team. Also, the support I've had from Kuumba, I would say it has been very useful because it's managed to bring out the confidence and determination from the kids to achieve. So I would say Kuumba has been a very positive thing.
Maya was in year 2 when we watched a concert, and the teacher actually played a lovely piece on violin. Then Maya asked, Mummy, I want to play that instrument.
I started playing music when I was in year 2. I loved the violin because it made me cry every time I heard it. And then from then I just love it. I just carry on playing. To me, I thought I was producing music and I was playing something so beautiful, and then my brother told me that it's just noise. And I got a bit upset about that because it would take me time to learn it.
It was very frustrating watching Maya being frustrated in not be able to make no sound as such. And very painful for our ears as parents, because there was just noise. It's just noise there was no music.
I had a first teacher and she gave up on me because I didn't enjoy it as much. She just gave up on me, and then I just didn't want to play the violin anymore, and I didn't play as much, and I just wanted to stop. And then my mum encouraged me to keep playing, so then I switched teachers.
I decided that whatever it took, I would make it happen for her because it was something she could express herself. She was very behind in school. She could not understand maths, problem solving. She couldn't understand. In order to solve, you have to explain in 3-4 ways in order for her to understand that. But as she progressed with music, she also progressed academic.
That I've always wanted to do is to play it the best and to make it perfect.
What I have faced, it is not having the music background and not understand anything about, and having to rely on institution or in people that they don't know themselves. So Kuumba has helped me in many ways in connecting, even if it's nothing to do with music, can be their behavior, can be finding another school. So this connect group has a huge value. If you feel you're a little lost or you're doing wrong, if you go there and you call one of them, there is always a light at the end of the tunnel.
I like classical music, although I don't play an instrument. I used to listen to a lot of classical music when I was much younger. They each wanted to learn in school, and I thought, why not?
Well, when I was younger, I think about 6 or 7, I started to pick up the violin.
I thought it'd be nice to learn. I don't remember being very good at it at an early stage.
Well, unbearable. Screeching, the usual screeching sound. The most difficult part for me was people accepting them playing an instrument, especially as they're boys, because I found if you're a black boy playing a classical instrument, sometimes it's scorned upon. I think people would be taken aback and surprised and realise that actually they can do anything other than just being on the street. And especially with the classical, if they come and play classical, I think it changes the public's perception.
It's inspirational when you're playing a piece that you really like.
Makes me feel like kind of happy because I've done something good and accomplished something.
It's a very expensive activity and it can be pressurized. So I think the key thing for me would be take it up for enjoyment and for children that really do enjoy and progress really well, there are opportunities for them.
There was one time my mum was playing a recording and they had violins in, so I said to her, oh, I would like to play the violin. And she said, okay. And then a girl at my school called Rihanna, her auntie was a violin teacher, and so she gave me her contact details and I started playing the violin with her.
But Maya's quite good at that. Once she decides she wants to do something, she will pursue it. And so the fact that she was pursuing it, I realised she was serious. She wanted to learn to play this instrument. And then there's the stage where they realise, actually, this is going to be hard work. And it's an emotional roller coaster, learning an instrument. It really is, more than anything else I can think of impact on family life. It really is quite an emotional roller coaster. They have to work hard. They have to learn to cope with frustration. They have to learn the skills of really sticking to something and being prepared to do something over and over again until they get it right. And these are wonderful skills which I think will be fantastic for them later in life. When they first start to practice at home, particularly with the stringed instruments, it can be quite painful. It can be really quite painful. But, you know, we were both on a learning curve, a very steep one. I think for a parent, your child learning an instrument is going to be stressful, but it's going to bring joy as well. But that's parenting, isn't it? They seem to give you in equal measure complete stress and anxiety and trauma, and then something wonderful to balance it. And make no mistake, with musical journeys, that's what it's going to be. Kuumba have done some really wonderful things with the kids. They've worked with the Royal Academy of Music, and they've done the leadership programmes where the children have been able to go away and try things that they probably wouldn't have tried. That was one of the things that Maya sort of kicked and bucked against, actually. She wasn't that keen on doing the leadership programme, but when she went on it, there were things that she really, did well at, and she shone at, things like conducting, for example. And working with the Royal Academy of Music and Kuumba on that leadership programme, I think gave her some insight into the fact that actually I can do this.
I think that starting an instrument is great because it opens another world. And I think that although it's tough at the beginning and you need to practice, especially with such a difficult instrument, in the future, you'll be really happy that you continued and you'll regret it if you don't.
It develops them academically. It develops them individually in learning to do something, sticking with something, achieving something, being proud of themselves. It develops them within a teamwork context. It makes them happy.
Going through, I guess, the audition stages and things like, because all of that was really, really new to me. So having other parents to be able to talk to, especially Kuumba Club, because I just think it's just really nice. It's a nice family feel, community feel. When I see all the children play, and I know they're not all my children, but I do call them my children, I am completely blown away, because I just think, for me, the fact that they can get up on the stage, whether they're doing a solo, an ensemble, a quartet, whatever, that they can get up and have the confidence to play. I just think they're amazing when they all come together. And what I like is that everyone's different, but they're all supportive of each other. No one's critical and saying, oh God, you played that out of tune or whatever. They're really supportive of each other. And I think they engage their audience. That's what our children do. I think people leave and they're like, yeah, that was really good. They leave with a really good feel factor.